Y'all people is out there one. I ain't no coward on the rilla. You understand? I'm a rapper, but I'm still a gorilla. You understand? I'll whip it like a thriller Manila. You understand? Y'all gon' make me have to come get with ya. You understand? I'ma be here for a minute, look water. You understand? It ain't about to let nobody mess on me. You understand? I don't need to play head on jewelry. You understand? Don't be talking about what you gon' do me. You understand? I ride every day of the week. You understand? You get your itchy when you're playing with me. You understand? I find out the spot that you sleep. You understand? See with my waters from the block of me creed. You understand? Load it up, I get back and be ready. You understand? Just make sure you be holding it steady. You understand? We gon' go in there and blow the place up. You understand? Soon as we get them, we gon' all catch a cut. You understand? Shh, be quiet. Tonight is the night that we ride. 30 camera calls, how much we killing inside. Reach out for doing surgery on body like a doctor. Shh, be quiet. Tonight is the night that we ride. 30 camera calls, how much we killing inside. Reach out for doing surgery on body like a doctor.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
What's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints as I get my cell phone out of my pocket. Hope you're enjoying your Friday afternoon. Hope that you're enjoying your day, man. It's a beautiful day here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where I'm at right now. Really excited, man. Tomorrow, get opportunity to go check out the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers taking on Old Dominion. So I'm excited about that, man. Got an article on the way coming out about that game. And, I'm just excited, man. Football is in full force right now. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things happening with the New Orleans Saints. Not much to for us to be excited about, especially since we've seen this laundry list of injuries that we're going to be getting into in the show. But I do want to say to everybody out there that's watching this right now, I really do appreciate it, man. Much love to you. Whether you're in a chat, whether you never been in a chat, but you listen very often, I really do appreciate that, man. Shouts out to all of the people that can't make it. Shouts out to all of the people that are going to check out this show after it's live. Shouts out to the after show boys.
Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to them after show boys. Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys.
Shouts out to all the after show boys and after show girls out there. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm pretty sure everybody already know and have seen by now the injury report for the New Orleans Saints. So we know that the injury report normally comes out on a Wednesday, but because the Saints are playing Monday night, there was an extra day. And with that, we know that they had a lot of injuries that came out on that Thursday, and then a couple more guys were added to the list on today. So I'm going to go ahead and read that list. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up, and this is from my guy Ross Jackson's X page, and I'm going to go ahead and put that up on the screen right now. And for those that can't read that, I can understand it because, my goodness, look at all the names on the list for the New Orleans Saints. Willie Gay did not practice, had a hand injury. Taysom Hill did not practice, dealing with a rib injury. Cesar Ruiz with a knee didn't practice. Shane Lemieux with the ankle did not practice. Peyton Turner with a knee injury did not practice. Blake Grupe did not practice on Thursday, but was a full participant on Friday. Demario Davis, both light practices on Thursday and Friday. So it's good to have Double D back into the fold. You got Telese Fuaga with a back and a knee injury. He's been dealing with a back injury since the beginning of the season. So they're taking it light on him. Alvin Kamara, same thing, hip and a rib injury, both light practices for each day. Juwan Johnson with a forearm, light practice, but was a full participant on Friday, which is good news. Brian Brzee with an ankle injury, light practice on both days. Kendre Miller, who was on IR, dealing with a hamstring injury. He had a light practice, and he was a full participant, which is great news. You have Chris Olave with a hamstring. Didn't bother him. He was a full participant. Cedric Wilson with an ankle injury, full participant both days. And now you have Lucas Patrick, a guy who was playing really well at left guard, slid in to play center against the Eagles when Eric McCoy went out. He did not practice. So that's your injury list, folks. And I apologize that I had to take a deep breath because, reading that list, but it's just amazing to me. Like, I don't understand it, man. Like, I want people to understand this, though. The Saints have like really bad luck this year. Like they do. They have really, really bad luck. And sometimes in football, it's not so much about just being good. Sometimes you just need a little bit of luck on your side. And it just doesn't seem like the New Orleans Saints are a lucky football team this season, but we've seen some of these guys be out and, it didn't really affect the things that the Saints wanted to do, for the exception of Taysom Hill, which I think we spoke ad nauseum about the fact that the Saints need to make sure that they're utilizing some of these young and explosive playmakers. Offensive line, there's only so much that you can do to try to cover up what's going on here. I just think that if you keep on trying to plug and play, eventually, everybody is going to see that you're very, very limited with this. And this couldn't come at a worse time because the New Orleans Saints, they kind of go into this game. They kind of go into Arrowhead, basically having to win this football game. Like they got to win this football game. Hold on one second. My apologies, folks. But look, they have to go into this game against the Kansas City Chiefs. They got to be able to come out with a victory, man, by hook or by crook, man. I mean, you got two teams in your division that are 3-2 right now. And even though this is a AFC opponent, you want to make sure that you win these type of games because now you're dealing with tiebreakers, right? So, the fact that you lost to the Falcons head-to-head, but if you end up beating the Kansas City Chiefs, that might work in your favor down the line. Tampa hasn't played the Kansas City Chiefs yet, but let's just say, for example, if they fall short, that can kind of help you with the whole tiebreaker thing. And also, you got to be able to beat your NFC opponents down the stretch. So they're going to have to find a way to come up victorious in this game. But when you look at the injuries, I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs have been dealing with injuries as well. I mean, we know that Rashee Rice has been put on IR. We know that Hollywood Brown was put on IR. He's out for the season as well. Isaiah Pacheco, he's not playing in the game. I mean, you got some guys on the defensive side of football like Nick Bolton. Even though he was a full participant, he's dealing with a hamstring injury. And, you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire dealing with an illness. He's trying to work himself back. Kareem Hunt, who they recently signed, more than likely will get some touches in the game versus the Saints. He's injured. So they're going to have to find a way to win, man. But this is just such bad luck, man. It's just unbelievable how much bad luck this New Orleans Saints team has had when it comes to the injuries, man. But you got to be able to kind of overcome your situation, overcome the circumstance. But I just wonder, like, how long can you, try to masquerade, like cover this thing up, like you try to mask this thing up. But I don't know, man. I do feel like they still are a talented football team when everything is together, but they're going to have to find a way to start winning some of these football games, and you got to be able to win. One name that I mentioned in particular was Kendre Miller. Kendre Miller, to me, can be that spark that the New Orleans Saints need. Jamal Williams, I like him a lot. I think he has a big personality. I think that when it comes to personality, you won't find a better guy than Jamal Williams. But this isn't a popularity contest, and what we have seen from Jamal Williams is not enough. And you can talk about the Saints not being able to utilize him a certain way, the fact that they haven't been utilizing him in goal line situations. I can't really explain why that is the case. I mean, we know that this guy led the league in rushing touchdowns, especially in short yardage situations when he was in his final year with the Detroit Lions. And for some apparent reason, the Saints just don't utilize those players. And, I just wonder, like, is it a Clint Kubiak thing or is it an upper management thing at this point? Because we've seen this last year where the New Orleans Saints clearly had a weapon in Jimmy Graham and they didn't utilize him at the goal line. And I hope that this isn't one of those cases where the Saints are looking at salaries instead of looking at production, looking at players just because they make a certain amount of money and you don't want them sitting on the side exhausting expenses. I just hope that this isn't the case, because you got to be able to utilize some of these players. You got to be able to take advantage of these situations. And I don't think that the New Orleans Saints have really done a good job when it comes to that. I think that the best players need to be playing. I think that it shouldn't just be about, oh man, this guy practiced really hard. Like, sometimes guys can be really good practice players, but when they go out there and play, they don't look the part. Case in point, everybody remembers Brandon Coleman back in the day. Brandon Coleman, the best practice player you ever seen in your entire life. But when it was time to go out there and play, it's like he was a deer in headlights. It's like he was lost in translation. And I just think that it's just time for the Saints to understand, like, if you're going to get yourself out of this hole, you got to make sure that you're relying on guys that you see make plays, which leads me to my next point about A.T. Perry. I don't understand why the New Orleans Saints waived A.T. Perry. I don't understand why the New Orleans Saints can look at a guy who's 6'5". Every time he's in a game, he's noticeable. When Michael Thomas went down last season, this guy had 12 receptions and 4 touchdowns. I just don't get it, man. I don't know if it's something behind the scenes that's going on. Maybe his work ethic was questioned. Maybe, some of the things that were going on, maybe the coaching staff didn't like, but it just doesn't make any sense, man. The fact that everybody else, like guys like Mason Tipton and Cedric Wilson, can go out there and play, and then all of a sudden, like, they ain't doing too much of anything. Like, I think Mason Tipton may have had like 1 catch for 4 yards last week. Cedric Wilson, I think, only has like 1 reception in what, 4 games? Like, that is unbelievable, man. It just doesn't seem to me like, those guys are moving a needle, or it's to a point where if those guys go out there and they're not putting their best foot forward, or they're not catching passes, it don't seem like it's a deal breaker. Okay, this didn't work this week. Let's try A.T. Perry the next week. But it just seems to me maybe the New Orleans Saints are having these guys in the lineup. I'm talking Mason Tipton and Cedric Wilson because they are better blockers or something. But I don't know, man. Look, it's good to block. It's good to have guys on the edge that can be able to open up a little bit for the running backs to run, on those stretch plays and toss plays. But, man, the dude is a gamer. And out of all those wide receivers, it just seems to me like he's the one that was out there making plays based on like the depth chart. Like, I'm not talking Shaheed, I'm not talking Olave, I'm talking about down the depth chart. So I just don't understand that, man. Like, it don't seem to me like this team is really doing what's best for offensive production. Like, you already are without Taysom Hill, which you put all of your eggs in that basket. Now he goes down, and now you're searching for guys that can make plays. And I don't know if it's the fact that it's just the way that the offense is set up, or the fact that they're just not utilizing these guys or have no interest in utilizing these guys. But I just know when you go into the game one-dimensional and everybody kind of knows what you're going to do and what players are going to do, that's a recipe for disaster. So I want to see the Saints be able to open up the playbook and utilize some of these guys. And if Mason Tipton and Cedric Wilson are the guys that you want to roll with. Don't just have these guys out here looking like a extra offensive lineman. Like, get these guys involved, because teams are going to start looking at Shaheed. They're going to start looking at Olave, and they're going to start focusing in on those two guys, especially if you got Alvin Kamara dealing with what he's dealing with and you don't have Taysom Hill in the fold. So you kind of know exactly where they're going to go. And I mentioned this a few episodes back, probably a few months ago, when I said that the Saints wide receiver room is just too top heavy. You're relying on Shaheed and you're relying on Olave to stay healthy throughout the entire season. But we see that, Chris Olave dealing with a hamstring injury. No, it has not affected his ability to make plays. But you're asking, two, I would say rather smaller guys, to go out there and be able to weather the storm and be able to win the battle of attrition. I just feel like it's just a tall ask for you to constantly just rely on these two guys at a position where, they can absorb a lot of punishment going across the middle, catching those passes. Sometimes things happen, like you're reaching out for a football, somebody catch you right in the rib, somebody catch you right in the leg. I'm not saying, I want these things to happen, but it's just the reality. And I just think that the Saints need to prepare themselves for this. I understand what the salary cap is. I understand where the Saints are. I think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to move themselves back to the middle. So they're not trying to make any extravagant expenses. But I just think that the Saints may have needed to consider bringing somebody in that can actually provide a little bit more on the offensive side of the football. But I think Kendre Miller may be able to help out Alvin Kamara if he can stay healthy. And I just think that maybe you just need to open up the playbook and utilize some of these playmakers and some of these guys that you just have out there blocking. Like, find what they do well and try to come up with some type of package, because that is how you're going to get yourself over this hump and get yourself out of this situation that you're in right now. Because if you don't, then you're going to be on the outside looking in, and the season is going to be over before it starts. But let me read some of your comments. I'll start with Paul. Thank you for being here. Before I get into Paul's comment, I want to mention that this show is powered by BETUS. Sign up and get up to 150% on your first deposit and up to 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. You can download the BETUS app, or you can go to BETUS and use the promo code YouTube150. Paul says the Saints have an aging roster. Well, I'll tell you this, man. They do have some guys that are on this team that are up there in age, but I don't think that age has anything to do with some of these injuries that I'm seeing. I mean, you look at Willie Gay. Willie Gay is still a young player. He's like in his mid-20s. Taysom Hill is 34, but Cesar Ruiz is 27. I think Shane Lemieux, if I'm not mistaken, is 27. Peyton Turner is 25. Blake Grupe is 24. Demario Davis is 35. Tallahassee Fuaga in his early 20s, maybe 21 or 22. Alvin Kamara, 29. Juwan Johnson, I want to say, is maybe 27. Brian Brzee is 23. It's not the fact that these guys are old. You got some of these guys that have been around the block a few times. There's nothing new under the sun for them. But they're a relatively young roster, man. I don't want us to fall into that, that narrative like the Saints had one of the oldest rosters in the league. Like, that may have been the case last year, but they've done a really good job bringing in some young talent, man, that got them back down to probably NFL regulated ages. They got the average age of NFL team, so I think I want to say is maybe 26 or something like that. Like, it's not to a point where, you just have a bunch of older guys on the team. But I just think that, they just had bad luck. I mean, they just got bad luck, man. Like, when it comes to like everything that's happening, rather it's the ball not bouncing their way, these injuries, it just doesn't look like, they can just, it don't seem like things are just going their way. It's obvious the Saints not trying to win. I don't want to say they ain't trying to win. I think they are trying to win, but at the same time, I mentioned this on the last episode, I don't think that the Saints are fully committed wholeheartedly to Dennis Allen this season. I think that they gave him enough in order for him to be able to win some games and prove that he's worth investing in 2025. But I also think that the Saints have a cause to pause and when it comes to Dennis Allen and trying to exhaust everything that they have to try to get him to get over the hump. I think that they want him to succeed, but if he doesn't, they're prepared to go in a different direction. And for that, I don't have an issue with. I don't have an issue with a team understanding that this could be the last time this guy's the head coach. And, we're not going to sabotage him or anything like that. We're not going to like just have a put a team together and we just expect you to go to the Super Bowl with some mediocrity out there. Like the Saints have a formidable team. Like we have to admit, the Saints haven't lost these games over the last couple of weeks because the team that they were playing against were just so much better than they were. That's just not the case, man. The Saints have been getting in their own way over the last couple of weeks. So when you have that going on, you can kind of feel like, man, they do have a team that can actually win. Now, are you getting put in these situations in order for you to be able to become successful? That's another story for another day. But the Saints are structured good enough for them to at least be a playoff team, to at least be a double-digit win team. And honestly, if they can't do that, then to me, I think you've seen everything you need to see out of Dennis Allen. And I think that may be the Saints' approach. I don't think they're going to go out here and say it, but you can kind of show what you're about through your actions. And by the Saints' actions, it just seems like they got a wait and see approach, just like a lot of us when it comes to Dennis Allen. So why should I go out there and keep on putting myself in a red for a guy that maybe at the end of the season I might have to blow this thing up, and I need to make my team as appealing as possible for the next coach that can come in. So that way we can get ourselves a better coach. And in 2025, we can get back to what we've been doing over the last, 2 decades, which is winning consistently. You hit it right on the head. This is something going on behind the scenes, especially in the front office. Man, I don't know what's going on in the front office. They always have a better view of what's going on than we do. Like we kind of just get the cliff notes, what the organization wants us to know. Rather, they give it to the media, or, insiders or what have you. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Has not made any sense why A.T. Perry wasn't playing in games, why he didn't play at all, why he was a healthy scratch. It just seems to me like there was something else going on. So I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe it's some things that we just are not privy to knowing. And, it's unfortunate because it makes the organization look like they're completely insane for making these decisions. But, I like A.T. Perry a lot. And I just think that the Saints, the way that they're offensively structured, I don't think they can afford to have a guy sitting on a bench that can make some plays because, I don't know, maybe he's not the better blocker than Mason Tipton is. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. They waived AP to sign Connor McGovern. There you go, O-line help. Yeah, but also at the same time, didn't they sign Jermaine Jackson? Am I mistaken? Like, didn't they sign that dude? Maybe they signed to the practice squad. I don't know, man. But they did sign a wide receiver earlier this week. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I don't know what it is, but I understand that you needed offensive line help, but I could think of other players that you probably could have let go outside of A.T. Perry. Like, I don't see those other third, fourth, fifth string wide receivers like moving the needle or anything like that. TJ, do you know the Saints released A.T. Perry? Yeah, we just talking about that. I don't understand the move, TJ. Man, neither do I. I don't understand it. Stroll down a little bit. Says a good point, TJ. Drake London took a hit in the ribs last night while having a big game. Can't use these guys out here like they won't get hurt. Your second string should be almost as good as your first. I agree with that, man. But, you got to be able to have some depth there. And I know that Dennis Allen said in a press conference that he likes his wide receiver room. I mean, what else is he going to say? Is he going to say, I hate my wide receiver room? So when people say he likes his wide receiver room, of course he's going to say that. He ain't about to go out there and just read these guys the riot act and say, man, we leave a lot to be desired up in here, man. So why wouldn't he say that is my question. My thing is, man, look, you can say whatever you want, but you got to be boo-boo the fool not to understand that this wide receiver room is paper thin. And I know there's some individuals out there that's going to justify some of these decisions, but I'm not. Like I understand that, you know, they have certain access that they want to maintain. I ain't got no problem with that, but I ain't about to allow to kick it. Like they know what's going on, man. You ain't winning consistently with the way that this team is structured right now. You may win some games, but you're basically what they said, riding on a razor blade and landing in the alcohol river. And words of Samuel Jackson on Juice. Like, that's what you're doing. You sliding down a razor blade and you about to land in an alcohol river. That is what you're doing right now. You got to find a way to get these guys involved, and you got to find more production from your wide receiver room. Honestly, it doesn't even have to be a wide receiver. Like, it can be like a tight end. Like, get Juwan Johnson involved, Foster Monroe, get those guys involved. And if you can't get that done, then what about Dallin Hoker? Like, man, to me, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just, the Lone Ranger here, but there's, for the exception of maybe Kamara, Olave, Shaheed, offensively, like, I don't feel like anybody's job should be like solidified. Like, it should be like, man, okay, what did they do this week? Maybe, I don't know. And maybe what they're asking these other wide receivers to do is just block. And maybe they be like, man, they're killing it right now. You killing it. You destroying it right now. You like, maybe that's what it is, man. Maybe they just getting off on the fact that these guys are blocking really well. But all I'm saying is you're not going to find success at the wide receiver position just using these two guys. Like, teams are just too smart. Defensive coordinators are too smart. They go into the game knowing that they need to take certain guys out. So you basically are playing with fire here, if you ask me. And like I said, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying you like a wide receiver room. Like, you may do, but that means absolutely nothing to me. I heard the same thing last year when Mickey Loomis was on WWL radio, said he had the right guys in the building, and he fired the entire offensive staff the next year. Like, so what does that mean? Like, that's nothing but lip service to me. TJ, it's the front office. I don't believe in them. Mickey Loomis just feels as though he can do whatever he wants, and he don't care about the team or winning. I think he cares about winning, but I do think that you carry yourself when you have a certain level of power. You may carry yourself a little bit differently. You don't have that sense of urgency. Like, he can be as patient as he wants to because his job isn't in jeopardy unless he wants it to be. So he can go out here and make these decisions. He can drag his feet about situations. He can, not, really aggressively go after a certain player or not aggressively try to get a deal done with a star player. He can do that because who's gonna say anything to him? Probably nobody. So with that, I think that he does want to win. I think that what he's doing this season is having a cause to pause, and I don't blame him, because how many of us right now really feel like the future is Dennis Allen and Derek Carr? Like, come on, man. Like, we want to see this team win. I want people to understand this, because sometimes, my message can get misconstrued sometimes. You can believe in two things. Like, you can believe in your football team and question the other parts of the team. I don't think there's a person in here right now, other than if they know Dennis Allen personally, feels like, oh, the future is bright with the New Orleans Saints with Dennis Allen as the head coach. I don't think people feel that way. So I'm not expecting, if I don't feel that way, I think that they are giving him an opportunity. Like I said, it's almost like a person that gives you the ingredients to cook a good meal. Like, it's a good meal, right? It's not going to be something that they're going to be serving at a 5-star restaurant, the Four Seasons or what have you, but it's going to get the job done, right? I'm giving you these ingredients just for you to be able to make this, and it's going to taste good. People going to enjoy it. They might even ask for seconds, but it's not going to be a meal that, you know, everybody like, man, my compliments to the chef. Can you bring the chef out of the kitchen? No. And to Mickey Loomis' defense, I don't blame him. To the Saints organization defense, I don't blame him. If you're not going to win with, you know, us exhausting the cap, why would I sit up here and try to continue to go down this road? I don't know what you are. I don't know what you're really truly capable of. So you got to prove it to me. So I don't have no issue. I promise you, I have no issue with the way that the Saints are operating. I think they're telling us everything that we need to know without telling us this. Like you don't have to like sit up here like, what are you doing? Like, you honestly, if you look at the way that they're actually moving with the 1-year deals for Chase Young and Willie Gay, Alvin Kamara playing out his mind, but they still ain't committed to him. Like, they basically are telling you that, man, everything that we're doing right now is a wait and see. And I can't knock them for that, because it's about damn time, folks. Like, we've criticized this team for them having this false sense of reality and living in this echo chamber about, you know, what the decisions that they're making, you know, and, oh man, y'all ain't closed. Y'all ain't even closed the window, been closed, man. That thing's sealed shut. Well, you can't say on one hand, like, the window is sealed shut, and then all of a sudden you want them to go for broke. Like, to me, I don't have an issue with it. The Saints are structured to be a competitive football team that, just like we feel, that can beat any team on any given Sunday, that can keep us, you know, in tune with the football team, have us hoping that they can actually do something. But if they don't, you can kind of understand it also. And I have no problem with that. As long as 2025, some changes are being made to a point where we can actually get back to having enjoyable Saints football. Now, the first couple of weeks and even this offense, it's a plus. We're actually seeing things that we can actually enjoy. The Saints aren't a boring football team, so I can appreciate that. But as long as what you're doing right now, if it doesn't pan out, 2025 looks even brighter than, you know, what you're showing and what you're displaying from certain players in this season right here. So I don't have an issue with it. I think that this is something that we've wanted. We wanted this team to kind of have a come to Jesus meeting, so to speak. Like, have come to grips with who they are and what they are as a franchise right now. And what the Saints are right now, some of you may not want to admit it, but they are a middle of the pack average football team. That's what they are, with the capabilities of being more than average, but also have the capabilities of being below average. Depends on what direction you want to go in. So, you know, the team is structured for a coach to make that coach or to break that coach. But, you know, if it doesn't pan out, then why would I be sitting up here exhausting all my expenses for a team that is average and not living up to their potential? I don't knock the organization for that. I swear, if AT goes to another team and goes off, I'm completely done with these buffoons. Man, I think that, yeah, I don't know. Look, I think that he's going to make some plays if he goes to another team. Like, we don't know, man. Maybe they waive him and they'll bring him back to the practice squad next week or something. I don't know. Depends on if he don't get picked up by somebody. But all I'm saying is this dude has a talent and a skill set that you know, he's capable of making some plays. I'm not going to say he's a one guy or number two guy, but you put him in a rotation, he'll make some plays. He has that Juwan Jennings type, you know, thing going with him. And sometimes guys are just not good practice players, but when they get out there on the field, shoot, they look like they're one of the best players on the field. And that's what he's done. Like, he's made plays that was noticeable when he had those opportunities to play. Okay, when Miller really shows y'all he's a good running back, y'all gonna eat crow. Yeah, I ain't never gave up on Kendre Miller. Like, I don't understand why anybody wouldn't see how talented this guy is. It's just unfortunate that he's had some injuries. The injuries are the reason why people are hesitant to embrace him. But if you watch him play and the opportunities that he had, he knocked them out of the park. He knocked them out of the park. And I think that if he stays healthy, I think that he will be a really good change of pace back And to be quite honest with you, I think that he can be the future of this team. Like, he has that type of talent. A lot of people don't realize that because they haven't seen it enough, or maybe you just kind of fell into that Dennis Allen and what Dennis Allen said about him. But I'm not buying it, man. I just think that was a way for Dennis Allen to challenge him. And it seems like Kendre Miller, based on his social media, based on the things that he's doing, he's willing to answer the call. I think that he'll have a good game if he gets more opportunities to touch the football and possess the football against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that he's going to have a really, really good game. If we truly are just average, the NFC South is not wide open, not for us at least. Well, that's just not true, because all these teams in the division are average. The Atlanta Falcons are average. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are average. The New Orleans Saints are average. The Carolina Panthers, a little bit below average, but they have the capability of making things interesting. See, the thing about it is, I said it at the top of this show, and I want people to understand this. Just because you win football games and, things start to kind of go your way doesn't mean and takes away from the fact that you're not an average football team. I look at the Saints and the Falcons in the same way. It's almost like one team is, pretty good, average, but the ball is bouncing their way. And then you have the New Orleans Saints that are average, pretty good, but things are not going their way. It's like an example of, taking a red pill or a blue pill and what the ramifications are, right? That's just what it is. Like, they are making plays and luck is bouncing their way. For example, if you look at the game against the Atlanta Falcons last week when the Saints played them, I mean, you didn't score any points offensively if you're the Falcons. You have a pick six and a muff punt. There was one play. It was right after a penalty, I think, that called back that B. John Robinson touchdown. Peyton Turner sacks Kirk Cousins. Ball falls on the ground. Nathan Shepard is the only one around the football. He falls and the ball just skeets out of his grasp, picked up by an offensive lineman. Now, if that didn't happen, who's to say like where that game would have went, where the trajectory of that game would have been? So all I'm saying is, like, sometimes luck is on your side. It just works out that way. And I'm not saying this because, I feel like, Atlanta's a bad football team. Look, they did what they needed to do to win these football games. I'll give them that. But the fortunate circumstances allowed you to continue the game. Like, don't make it seem like, oh, we just won this. No. There are times where luck has to play a role, and it has not played a role when it comes to New Orleans Saints. At times, it's just bad luck, undisciplined situations, and a team pretty much beating themselves constantly. So it's a prime example of what happens when things go on your way, and there's an example when things are not. So every team in this division is average. They are. Like, there are no great football teams in the NFC South. They're just not. They're just not. Like, I don't care who they beat. Like, to me, like, if football was like basketball, like, if we having a 7-game series, like, are you telling me that the Falcons gonna sweep the Saints 4 games to none, sweep the Bucks 4 games? It's just not gonna happen. Like, that's what makes football so amazing. Like, you can't go out there and wet the bed, because if you do, then that's going to hurt you in the long run. You don't get an opportunity. Like, look, if the Lakers in game 1 go out there and lose to the Kings and get beat to sleep, they still know in game 2 we got another chance to try to tie this series. You don't have that. You have it in your division because you play them twice, so you can actually split. But that's just the way that, that's just the way it works sometimes. Sometimes teams just have luck on their side, combined with the fact that they're pretty good. Man, we better hope Olave don't go down this season, because if that happens, might as well not even show up. I watched Bo Nix for 10 years in college, king of screens and 5-yard passes, but okay. Yeah, man, that boy Bo Nix was in college for a long time, man. Saints beat themselves. Falcons give themselves a chance. It's pretty much that. You know, I know, like, I know that teams want to feel like, man, we just that good. Nah, man. I mean, there are some teams that are good. There are some teams that are really, really good. And, like, regardless of the circumstance, they're going to find a way to win. And then you have teams, that's good. And then all of a sudden, like, some things just start happening and you just feel like everything just going their way. And that's just how I feel. I felt that way about Tampa last season, like in certain situations. And I feel this way about Atlanta this season. Like, sometimes you need the ball to bounce your way. I think there was a good I think that we are a good team in need of great leadership. Them Falcons can't sit with us. I put it like this, man. Here's another example. Taysom Hill, right? Taysom Hill was like had 2 touchdowns in a game. Then he goes out with an injury. Like, it's stuff like that. Like, last night I'm watching. If you're watching this on a Friday, you had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that were pretty much depleted in the secondary, and then their best safety at the time, I think Jordan Whitehead, goes out, can't even come back into the game, which basically one of the reasons why Daryl Hodge, like, hit his head on a goalpost. It's like stuff like that. It's like fortunate circumstances that happen. Like Baker Mayfield not seeing a wide open Mike Evans in the middle of the field just streaking. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fortunate circumstances that play a role combined with the fact of guys making plays. And sometimes you need that. I mentioned this on the last episode. You remember the 2009 Saints? You remember that game where they was getting beat down by the Miami Dolphins? They were able to fire back. You remember the game versus the Washington then Redskins? Drew Brees throws a egregious interception, throwing the ball off his back foot. Guy picks the ball off, start running it back. Robert Meacham just rips the ball out of his hand and turned into a touchdown. Like, there's certain things, that happen. And, the Saints went 13-0 that season before they lost to the Cowboys. But in those 13 games, my dude, like, they had some luck on their side. They had some fortunate circumstances. They had some very, like, uncharacteristically unfathomable type things happen that went in their favor. And sometimes, when you talk about, when you talk about that stuff, man, nobody want to hear because they want to feel like their team just like that. But I don't walk away from those games feeling like any team had the competitive advantage. Like, I don't feel like, even if the Saints beat the Falcons, I still feel like the Falcons are just as good as the Saints. I feel like Tampa is just as good as the Saints. I think these teams are pretty much all the same. Like, they pretty much structured to be able to knock off one another. And it would be a shock to me that any of these teams sweep the other. Like, even with Carolina, like, I would be like, it wouldn't surprise me. I know this sounds crazy, but it wouldn't surprise me if Carolina beat the Falcons next week. Now, especially since they have Andy Dalton out there, and he's pretty steady. It wouldn't surprise me because there's no secrets within this division. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows each other's tendencies. That's why home field advantage don't really matter in divisional games. That stuff don't matter. It does not. I agree. I honestly think we are cursed. I think that bad luck is just surrounding this team right now. Dana G, we don't have enough young people in the front office, a bunch of old people stuck in their ways. No lie, TJ. I think we're going to shock people with a win against the Chiefs like we did with the Cowboys. Let's see. TJ, all my friends say I talk too much during the game. The other part of my friends say I am too accurate and should be a coach. If I'm sitting on the couch and can read these, please, everybody else can. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, but that also comes from our knowledge and our ability to follow these teams. Says we got to give a team credit and play before that. If a game close, obviously they did something right to have it close. they made more plays. It's a team sport. Both teams had mistakes. Yeah, but we can say the same thing about the Saints. The game was close then. So, in one hand, we can't say, okay, the Saints, they playing in close games and, they had to do something in order for that game to be that close, for them to stay competitive. And we can't just turn around and say, oh, well, they stink then. Like, I'm just saying, like, there are certain fortunate circumstances when it just happens, man. Like, luck can be on the side of a team. The ball can indeed start bouncing away of that particular team. Opportunities they make. Like, for example, Bucky Irvin fumbling the football, like Jesse Bates, like getting in there, like he got the first down and more. And that was pretty much like they was pretty much going to be dead to rights in that game. So he made that opportunity happen. But like I said, at the same time, like a face mask that wasn't called, a pass where Mike Evans was right down the seam, like we wouldn't be having these type of conversations. So sometimes, like I said, luck along with some good play plays a role. Like I don't care how much luck you is. You can't just be walking out there like just looking up at the sky and then all of a sudden just good things start happening. Like you got to create some of your good luck as well. But sometimes the ball bounces a certain way in your favor. So even the play before, like it didn't work out for him, but even like Younghoe Koo, right? He missed a field goal and, it was offsides. They got another opportunity. Now, he missed it again, but all I'm saying is like, dang, you know what I'm saying? That's another opportunity. We're not going to talk about that because it didn't work out. See, I'm gonna talk about those type of situations, even if it does not work out, because I don't want people to be like, well, you only saying that. No. I'm just saying, like, that was a fortunate circumstance. It didn't work out the way you wanted it to, but it still nonetheless was a fortunate circumstance. Tim, thank you very much for the $10. Says in high school, we had a game where at kickoff, the opposing team kicked the ball and it bounced off our returner team's thigh pad back to the kicker's hand, and he ran it in for a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, look, sometimes that happens, man. Sometimes like these unforeseen circumstances happen. Michael, thank you very much for the $1.99. I really do appreciate that. Look, I'm not saying, look, you ain't about to hear me say that I feel like the Falcons or the Bucks are terrible. They're just not. They're not bad football teams. We got to concede and we got to accept that. I mean, but, the thing that bothers me is this. You see your team with this unlimited potential and just things are just going completely in a different direction. And then you have a team that's basically structured the same way. And it's like everything just kind of happening for them. It's just frustrating. Like, is it frustrating? Like when you see a team have a block punt, a fumble recovery, and an interception in the same game and lose? You don't allow offensive touchdown in an entire game and you lose? Like, it's just, man, it's frustrating. Did you win or lose right now? It's a stat saying we best 2-2 team ever. But would that matter if we ended up 9-8 or best 9-8 ever, assuming it's not enough for the playoffs? No, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters unless you're playing in the postseason. Look, I don't care. Like, I just want to see the Saints in postseason. Like, you can have the division title. We know that doesn't mean jack, right? The Saints won a division title when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won a Super Bowl. Like, that doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, look, have that the division. I don't care, man. Just get me to the playoffs. You can be a 7 seed. You can be a 6 seed. You got to be world warriors. I don't care. Like, just make it to the postseason. That's what I care about. I don't care about, oh my goodness, like we win a division. We not a 1 seed. Like, that's great if you can end up attaining that feat. But you think these teams that make it to the postseason, that go on the road, win these road playoff games, make it to the championship, get over that hump, go to Super, you think these people care? No, I don't. I don't care. Like, I don't care about winning the division. Like, that may sound crazy, but I don't. I'm more focused on the Saints making the playoffs. People that talk about winning the division, all that kind of stuff, to me, that's the kind of stuff that you just want bragging rights. I don't need no bragging rights. Like, why are we going back and forth with teams? Like, I can understand the Bucks. They've been kind of dominant when it comes to NFC South when it's in and when we talk about titles. I can understand that. But why should I care like going back and forth with Atlanta Falcon fan if they win the division? They haven't won the division since what, 2015, 2016, haven't made the playoffs since 2018. Like that's the reason why they jumping out the window so excited right now. Because they've had so much misfortune over the last damn near 10 years. I care more about making the postseason, something the Saints haven't done in 3 seasons. I want to make the postseason. I don't care. Like that may sound crazy to some, but I don't care about winning. I don't. I want the Saints to make the postseason because I feel like the Saints can play with any team no matter where they are. Home field advantage for the New Orleans Saints ain't what it used to be. Let's just call it for what it is. It ain't what it used to be. And we've seen teams go on the road and win playoff games. So there you go right there. Let's see. Be completely honest. How close y'all think the game will be against the Chiefs? I think it's going to be a close football game. Hit the like button. What's good, TJ and the Who Dat fam? 35-24 Saints win. Says at the end of the day, we can't spread the ball around with our wide receivers. Kirk Cousins got to a new team with a new playbook and even gave Sterling Shepard a touchdown. That's actually the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. Tampa Bay Buccaneers had Sterling Shepard, but I get what you're saying. Why is it that, you got a quarterback in Kirk Cousins that can go out there and distribute the ball and have his wide receivers and tight ends looking like something when people had Kyle Pitts labeled as a bust, but he goes out there and nearly has 100 yards. Drake London out there looking like he, as advertised over 150 yards receiving. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. And that's what I said. I said, that's the reason why people criticize Derek Carr. And I think people got the indication or, they felt as if I was saying like, oh, Derek Carr has to throw for 509 yards. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you're in these wins, you're seeing his fingerprints all over the game in crucial situations. Like you're seeing Kirk Cousins play pretty well throughout the game. You know what I'm saying? Like you're seeing this. It's not like, oh, punt, and punt again. And then all of a sudden 2 minutes left in the game. And it's just me kind of saving face here so we can have this big debate on social media like, oh, he came through in the clutch. I look at the entire totality of a game, and I feel like that's what people need to start doing. People look at the end result. Oh, he drove the team down the field. But my thing is, if we're going to look at box scores, how about we look at the play summary? How about we look at the plays? How about we look at why this team was punting, punt after punt after punt. Then all of a sudden the defense out there playing pretty doggone formidable. They get a stop, get the ball back. You drive down the field with about 2 minutes left or less, less than a minute left. And then all of a sudden, like everybody talking about, man, he clutch, man. The defense let him down. Like, how many stops did the defense give you to be able to basically make this game out of hand? It's complimentary football. So that's all I'm saying. I ain't saying dude got to go out there and throw for 500 and some odd yards, but to say that this dude is everything and like I just feel like that's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't care how many game-winning drives you out there coming through with. Like, to me, that's like Tim Tebow's type stuff to me. Tim Tebow played lackluster the entire game, and then the last 2 minutes of the game, he goes and he throws, a pass to Demaryius Thomas or something like that, and they win. And everybody is talking about that, or he sets Matt Prater up for a big, long field goal for them to escape out of there, making a heist of the century. Like, I just feel like if you're like that as a quarterback, I just feel like you need to be able to have your stamp on the game all the freaking time. Like, you ain't got to score every time, but how about driving the ball down the field for Blake Gruber to kick a field goal? How about, driving down the field in order for your running back to run a touchdown for 15 yards out or 3 yards out or 2 yards out in the middle of the game, not the last 2 minutes of the game. I look at the entire game. I don't just look at the last 2 minutes because that's what we all pay attention to. And that's what we all kind of like create our judgment based on. The last 2 minutes of the game. I don't feel like the last 2 minutes of a football game decides if you're a good quarterback or not. Like, you got to start looking at, why is this team in this hole? How would this hole created? Could this 2-minute drive been avoided if better quarterback play or better offensive play took place? That's all I'm saying. So I take all of that type of stuff into consideration, not just the last 2 minutes of the game. What we do is, and I've said this before, we just watch the football. Wherever the football lands last, that's our last lasting moment of the game. If it works in our favor, then everything went right. When it don't work in our favor, everything went wrong. I need consistent football play from the quarterback position. Regardless, I got the Saints winning. I think they're going to pull it off too. I do. Chiefs haven't looked unbeatable. They escaped with 2 wins as well. That should have been losses. The guy Hodge comes in and scores the game-winning touchdown. Well, look, I ain't got no problem with Kendre Hodge with that because, I mean, he's an HBCU guy. He went to Prairie View. I ain't got no problem with that, man. It's good to see guys like that making plays, you know, a fellow HBCU alumni, you know, like doing things. And also, I already mentioned, man, some of y'all may not want to hear this, but I'm going to say it, man. That was a good look seeing 2 African-American head coaches coaching against each other on a big stage like that. You know, so I'm gonna give them credit where credit is due. Like I'm look, ain't no love lost between Saints fans, Bucks fans, and Saints fans, Falcon fans. But you know, that was a good look last night. You can tell Hodge, you know what I mean, the dude was emotional and stuff like that. You know, I mean, probably wouldn't even been in a game. I don't even think he would have been in a game if Drake London didn't get hurt. So it was just, you know, that was just guys playing for him that day, that night rather. TJ, if we can't beat Kansas City with them having so many injuries and a must win for us, then what? Well, it's an AFC game, so it's not so much damage, you know, that's being caused. You know, when you start losing to the NFC opponents, then you know those are the games that you really want to win. When it comes to let's just say when it comes to the Falcons, you know, and maybe if tiebreakers play a role, the Falcons didn't beat Kansas City. If you beat Kansas City, that might be helpful to you when it comes to like positioning. Now, you'll probably have to beat Atlanta, beat a team like Kansas City, and also be able to beat more NFC opponents, you know, than the Falcons do in order for you to try to win that position, or even the Bucks, right? In that matter. So, because they already beat the Eagles, both of them did, right? So right now you got to make sure that you beat more NFC opponents and also be able to knock off an opponent or two in the AFC that these 2 teams didn't, because that's how, you know, you break these tiebreakers. So it can start with Kansas City, but it's not anything that can't be salvaged. You know, I'd rather you lose to an AFC opponent than an NFC opponent. Saints color rush with the black helmets, bro. Wear all black everything. Yeah, I think that they should wear all black everything, but those color rush jerseys ain't been what they used to be. Yeah, definitely, I agree, TJ. Yep, Saints win. We need white and gold helmets. Yeah, we need those original color rush jerseys. I don't remember seeing too much winning in them black helmets. Have they ever won a game with the black helmets and color rush jerseys? Keep it clean in the chat. Kansas City doesn't beat themselves. We do. Yeah, I mean, they find ways to win. That's what great teams do. You know, that's what good teams do. You know, like I say, hey Atlanta or not, they found ways to win. You know, they found ways to win. So those nobody cares and nobody remembers how the game was won. All people remembers a W's or L. So I give them credit for that. I'm not throwing shade at the guy Hodge. Made a great play, but if that was Carr, he would have even looked that guy's way in that situation. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed like I don't want to keep on picking on this dude, but it just seemed like it's more about like self-preservation than it is about winning football games at times. Like I honestly, I don't even if a quarterback throws the ball down the field and he feels like he's confident that his player is just better than that other guy, and he just throws the ball down the field and it's a 50-50 ball and it ends up being intercepted. I promise you I don't care. I promise you I don't care, man. But it just seemed like you'll have like Shaheed like streaking down the field, and maybe there's like a safety back there, and like you could probably thread the needle or get it over him or even overthrow him. Like get it over the top. Okay, Shaheed is too far for him. Cool. Right? But I just feel like if he's looking at that, like, nah, let me check it down to Alvin Kamara. You know what I'm saying? 2-yard gain. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not saying you gotta be Brett Favre or anything like that, man, but have some type of gunslinger in you, man. Like some type of gunslinger in you. I like those type of quarterbacks. It instills confidence in your skill players. It just does. Like if it used to feel great. Like I'm playing football and you know what I'm saying, quarterback like, hey bro, I'm going to you on this play. I don't care how close he is to you. Make a play. Like that make you feel good. Like, man, let me go out here and try to make this play. It's not always about being safe at times. Like, yeah, maintain, like, control the football, make sure that you ain't making no risky mistakes and stuff like that. But sometimes, like, I just wish that you would rely more on your players. A lot of the way being thrown is like, okay, that guy's like wide open in the flat. If he ain't wide open in the flat, here comes the sack. Here comes the 2-yard check down. Here comes the -1 yard because I'm throwing it in the backfield because I don't trust this. Come on, man. Like I just want to see. I just want to see some plays made, man. I don't care. Like if I feel like I understand what you're trying to do here, man, but that's what I do like about what I see from Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is putting the ball in a position for his receivers to make plays, even when they blanket it in coverage. Because he feels like two things are going to happen. It's rather they're going to come down with the football or it's going to be pass interference. There was one play that he threw to Darnell Mooney in the middle of the field. That was in triple coverage. Mooney just made a play. So sometimes I just wish that, like, even with Baker Mayfield, that pass, ironically, to Sterling Shepard, he rolls to his right. If you see where he placed that ball, that was pretty dangerous, man, because you had the cornerback that was right there. He just passed his ear hole, touchdown to Sterling Shepard. That was an arrogant throw that he threw, but he trusted in his former teammate from Oklahoma, and now his recent teammate Sterling Shepard. Just saying, just make plays. Like even the week 1 versus the Carolina Panthers, he was rolling to his right. Foster Moreau just holds his hand up and he just throws the ball up in the air. And Foster Moreau comes down with the touchdown. Man, that play right there, I was like, okay, man, if he plays like that this season, we're going to be all right. But I ain't seen nothing like that since. I just haven't. So, like you can't just be looking at, I don't know, man. It just seems like there's a lot of self-preservation going on. He's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like you got to trust your players, man. You got to trust those guys. Like you can't just go out there, trying to make, like if Chris Olave is the hot read, right? And Chris Olave is blanketed, like, man, if you have Cedric Wilson, which is like your third option here, like if he, if he's underneath or something like that, you can throw it to him. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe I'm just tripping. Maybe I'm just wrong about what I'm saying, but I don't know. I just feel like, there's something missing there. Good decisions, don't always win you football games. It just doesn't. Like the best decision. Like the easiest decision is to check it down in a situation like that. But if I can push this ball down the field because I trust Chris Olave, because, Shaheed, I can trust him. I don't know, man. That type of stuff right there is the reason why we should have an appreciation plays that he used to make. It wasn't so much those guys were getting those passes in stride. What made the connection between him and Colston so special is if Colston was blanketed in coverage, like Drew would throw him a back shoulder fade, like, okay, if I can't get you right here, look for it back there. And it was just automatic, man. It was just automatic. I disagree, TJ. I think this organization is fully behind DA. I think that, look, you can love somebody but not in love with them. Like, just because you not in love with somebody don't mean that you wish them bad. It's not like you don't put them in, like in harm's way here. I feel like they want him to succeed. This who that 504, I think they want him to succeed. Of course they do, right? Because him succeeding, helps the bottom line. But I'm not going to fully commit myself. Like I used the example about buying a car for your child or someone that has like 10, 12 miles on it, brand new, right? Ain't been nowhere except around the block to get test driven. And you take that car, you give it to them, take it for a spin, boom, hit a phone post, right? Total the car out. Are you going to go out there and get them the same car? Like, okay, man, I know you wrecked this, but let me go ahead and get you another car. Like it's just not happening, man. You're going to be like reluctant, like, okay, man, I don't want you walking, but how about we just give you this instead? Like, you ain't about to just go out here and just make the same mistake twice. That person is going to have to earn your trust. So you're going to have to ride around in this least expensive car. No pun intended. And I just think that the Saints organization has a wait and see approach. No, I don't think that they giving up on them, but if it doesn't go the way that they want, I don't feel like they would be, it would be like a tough decision for them just to, let him go. I mean, what other leg do you have to stand on at this point? They allowed you to get the coaches that you want on the defensive side of football, get the coaches that you want on the offensive side of football, get the quarterback that you wanted, maintain the players that you felt like would be best for the organization. If you can't get wins out of that, then what more can anybody say? What leg do you have to stand on here? We need a leader quarterback on our team, take over at least one game. I think that Derek Carr has leadership qualities. I do. I think he has leadership qualities, but I just think that you need a little bit something more, man. Like, I just think that you need something more. I think it is a combination of needing something more as far as the play. And I just think that, I don't know, man. I just think that this isn't it's just not the right fit. It's not the right fit to me. I think you're trying to make it the right fit, but I don't think it's the right fit. Like, let's look at this offensive line. Do y'all think, hear me out. Do you think that this offensive line could benefit with a quarterback that can move out of the pocket? Not a guy that's going to be like Vic or Lamar Jackson or anything like that. Like Baker. Yeah, now you've seen Baker Mayfield. Like, some of y'all seen the game. I keep on referring back to the game on Thursday because this is the most, I feel like this game kind of puts together a lot of things and a lot of plays that were made that I was like, okay, man, that was pretty good stuff. Baker Mayfield isn't looking to run. He's not looking to run. But if an opportunity presents itself, he's running and he's sliding for the first down. I just think that the statue quarterback standing in the pocket, strong and bold with an offensive line like this, you're not going to get the results that you need. Like, I feel like a quarterback that can be able to move around a little bit, scramble a little bit for a first down, get 4 or 5 yards, keep the chains moving, or, like put yourself in a second and manageable, third and manageable. I think that they can benefit from that. I do, and I also think that, you need a quarterback with a little bit more of an aggressive approach. Injuries, TJ, that's the excuse. Nah, I'm not. Look, the Saints had injuries last week, and they still win that game. I can't use that as an excuse, man. TJ, I just can't believe the Falcons leading the division. Well, they did what they needed to do. They made the plays that needed to be made. And they came up clutch down the stretch. So we better get ready for Shadur with the Panthers next year, TJ. Well, I'm not concerned about that. I ain't concerned about that. It says, TJ, you sound like LSU fans when talking about Nuss. Boy, a human statue in the pocket. Yeah, I mean, but not a bad quarterback, right? Nussmeier is not a bad quarterback, but you need something more. Like, these defensive linemen are too freaking athletic, man, and they too talented, man, for like these big 300 and some odd pound guys to just be holding them down every single play. You'll probably get it done a few plays, but there's going to come a time where I don't care how much technique. I don't care how great the technique is, how great the footwork is. Look, you can be Fred Astaire out there when it comes to the footwork. James Brown when it comes to the footwork. Your local Chicago dancer when it comes to the footwork. But guess what, man? If that defensive end is going to get past that offensive lineman and he's going to hit that quarterback. That's why I feel like statue quarterbacks are becoming a thing of the past. They just are, man. It's going to come a time where your quarterback is going to have to make a play. They're going to go up against a team that no matter how great your offensive line was looking from week to week, they're going to have some pass rushers that are going to be able to move your quarterback off his spot. And if that quarterback is a statue back there and he's reluctant to run or he has happy feet, they are going to tee off on food. Straight up. They're going to tee off on him. Like you got to have the ability to move around in the pocket. Like I said, you ain't got to be running a 4.3 40, but you got to be able to haul ass and get out the pocket. If it's man coverage, right? You got a 4-man front and they just trying to come after your quarterback, and you got several members of the secondary, linebacker back turn, cornerback back turn. Like, man, shoot up the middle, man, get them yards. Like, if your wide receivers are blanketed, get those yards. That's just the way the NFL is going right now. How many statues that y'all see out here that's coming into the league right now? Like these like the quarterbacks with the inability to be able to run and scramble and stuff like that, like those guys are passe. They just are. And to me, I just feel like the Saints would benefit. They would benefit, like the way that this offensive line is structured right now. They would benefit if they had a quarterback that would be able to help them out from time to time, scrambling like eggs and breaking fast. One great defensive play by an edge rusher can change the entire game. Facts. Even Breeze had to run and roll out. Yeah. But the thing about it is, the thing about Breeze is Breeze was a pocket passer, but he can manipulate the pocket. Like he can manipulate he can move around, right? He can, like with his eyes, he can move the players where he needs them to be. Like, I need you to like move, a little bit over it so I can throw this pass to Traquan, or throw this pass to Mike T. Like, he was able to do that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I ain't seeing that. I ain't seeing that much. I ain't seeing too much improvising. I'm seeing, okay, Olave on the out route, throw it to him. Olave ain't open. Okay, well, I do check it down. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I keep on saying I don't know because I don't know. I don't know. I just, I look at this team. I feel like they'll benefit with a quarterback that can move around a little bit more. That'll help out that offensive line. I don't think we'll be having these conversations about how bad the offensive line is if you had a quarterback that could be able to take advantage of some of these situations. I do. I strongly feel that way. Man, this just started to feel like a rerun last season. I really like this team too, but the head coach just not it, bro. I think that this team still has the capability of winning 10 games. I feel like this team still has the capability of winning this division, but you got to get out your own way, man. You got to get out of your own way. You got to get out of your own way, and you got to make those plays. You got to make the plays to win the game, man. Like, too many plays being left on the field, and that's the most frustrating thing about it. I think at the end of the day, we all want this team to win. Going back and forth and debating about this, that, and the third, at the end, the objective is to win. Like, I don't care if you are looking at this and you're upset with some of the things that I'm saying when it comes to Carr, when it comes to like Allen. All of us want this team to win. If you're a Saints fan, you want them to win. And at the end of the day, all of us have our different perspectives about how we feel the team can get it done. But what angers me the most is I know that this team is much better than 2-2. They just are, man. There's like, if I just read you numbers and stats and everything like that, and I just said, okay, there's been 4 games that have been played, and this team only allowed 4 touchdowns in 4 weeks. This team has accumulated 127 points in the last 4 weeks. Their running back has 6 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks. And they generated a turnover in nearly every single game they played in. What would you say? Like, and I'll tell you, what is their record? Man, they got to be 4-0, right? 2-2. Like, it's just frustrating. Like, I'm sorry, it is frustrating to watch a team with so much potential. And if you were able to find a way to navigate through these uncharted waters, dealing with these injuries, this laundry list of injuries, if you were able to do that, being 4-0, like, you kind of gave yourself a little bit of wiggle room and a little bit of cushion. Like, okay, if you do slip up, then guess what? Like, it's not the end of the world. Now it's like you're injured, bad luck seems like it's on your side, and you got to go and take on the 2-time Super Bowl champs in their house, a place that is a house of horrors for a lot of football teams. So it just, I don't know. Got my wife in the kitchen doing my intro. Appreciate that. But anyway, they just kind of threw me off. She in the kitchen saying TJ Jones the host. Let's see, who was the quarterback the final drive? You talking about the final drive of the St. Falcon? It was Derek Carr. Derek Carr was the, he was on that final drive. It said to score the touchdown. It's never Carr DA's fault. They always put it on someone else. But the thing about it is, man, it goes back to what I'm saying. Everybody, when I have these critiques, everybody just automatically say, well, who had the game-winning drive? He did. But, not saying that the dude is trash. He is not trash. I didn't say that. We pay attention to the final result. And the final result, in my opinion, over the last 11 seasons for Derek Carr has been bailing his ass out when it comes to what type of quarterback that he is. Because people are going to say, well, When Derek Carr had the ball, he scored a touchdown. What defense did? We're not looking at the totality of the game. Why are you in this situation in the first place? Why does these type of situations constantly happen to you? Why can't you move the football? Why is the football not being moved throughout the game? Maybe setting up a field goal. If you miss a field goal, cool, whatever. But why is it that you're not getting into plus territory, turning it into field goals? Getting into plus territories, turning into a rushing touchdown by X, Y, or Z consistently. I gotta say consistently because people gonna say, well, when he did this, like there's always gonna be exceptions to the rule. All I'm saying is I didn't watch this dude for a good little minute. And yes, there have been some late game inside the 2-minute type of heroics that he's got the ball into the end zone. But I also seen this offense have a pretty damn near like they just wasn't moving. 4 flat tires out there. I mean, throughout the entire game. And then all of a sudden, here comes a 2-minute touchdown. Like that don't absolve mediocre quarterback play. It just doesn't. It just doesn't absolve mediocre quarterback play. If you look like booty cheeks playing basketball, let's just say, for example, you put up 12 threes and you missed 11 of them. And then all of a sudden you wide open, they dish out, you make a 3. And then all of a sudden that 3 decide the game. Guess what? You still ass from 3. You just are. Like it don't mean anything. Like you can't sit up here and just say, oh man, we look at the end result. Like, no, man, I'm talking about throughout the game. Pushing the ball down the field. Defense giving you 3 and outs. How about driving down the field, man, setting up a field goal, a touchdown or something? That's all I'm saying. Like, don't give me stuff about what happened at the end of the game. What happened in the second quarter with 10 minutes? And the Honey Badger gave you a pick in midfield. And you couldn't even get a field goal out that joint. Like that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. Like, you know, don't be talking to me about, man, when you had 2 minutes of the game, man, you drove down and threw that ball to Olave. Nah, bruh. That was good. Made me feel great. Thought we had a chance. But guess what? What happened throughout the game? Why are we in this position in the first place? Defense playing lights out for the majority of the game, but they got to come out here. Like, here's the thing. Defense will play lights out the entire game, give the ball back to the offense over and over and over and over again. And then all of a sudden, nothing comes of it. And then all of a sudden, late game heroics. Oh, man, we got the lead. Oh, he set us up for a field goal. Defense comes out there, miss opportunity. Man, look at the defense. We need to have a conversation about the defense. No, we need to have a conversation about why this offense couldn't do anything when the defense was giving you 3 and out after 3 and out, turnover after turnover. That's what we need to be talking about. We can talk about them wetting the bed and coming up short defensively on a final drive. That's cool. But to sit up here and just say, okay, the last 2 minutes of the game, we don't need to talk about him because he put the ball into the end zone or they set up a field goal the last 2 minutes of the game. We don't need to talk about him. He ain't the problem. No, sir. No, sir. I will not accept that. And you shouldn't accept that. We got to stop just looking at the final visions that we have. We need to look at the entire thing. We started looking at, okay, man, we sure had a great relationship, man. We used to go everywhere together. We used to hold each other's hands, stare into each other's eyes, man. You remember that time we had that moonlight walk on the beach? Yeah, but also, don't you remember that fight? Don't you remember that? Oh, I'm about to get the hell up out of here because I can't stand you. Oh, everything is good. Like, we think about those lasting moments, right? But we don't think about the entire situation about why we're not together anymore. You gotta look at everything, man. And I just feel like a lot of what's going on is getting slipped under the cracks because of the last moment that is in our minds. I want to talk about the punt, the 3 and out, the 3 and out. That's what I want to talk about. Look, I will say that if the defense is the last line of defense to decide the wins or the loss, you got to come up. But to sit up here and just completely absolve dude because he had a last 2-minute drive and put him up by 1, hex no, man. Hex no. No, sir. I'm not about to do that. Yo, we can have Pat Mahomes behind our lines. Guess what would happen? You'll win. You'll win. You'll win. That, I mean, it's I don't care what. Look, you're going to win football games. I get. Look, there's not a doubt in my freaking mind. If Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints behind his offensive line, they'll be undefeated. They will be undefeated. They will be undefeated. You know why? Because Patrick Mahomes not going to just stand in the pocket and just sit there and just waiting for plays to develop, and you know what I'm saying, all of a sudden just going to take a sack. Patrick Mahomes going to get his ass out of the pocket, try to get to 4 or 5 yards. That's just the truth. The Saints will be undefeated if Patrick Mahomes was their quarterback. They would be undefeated if he was their quarterback. Plain and simple. Quarterbacks that have the bit like you're not about to tell me some of those drives were not sustained because Derek Carr was immobile. That you're not about to tell me that. Quarterbacks with the ability to move, keep drives alive, folks. They just do. I'm not going to say that, you're going to get sacked. I don't care if, even Lamar Jackson gets sacked. But all I'm saying is, if, you have a quarterback that sees, okay, man, this dude getting beat, this guy getting beat, you know what I'm saying? And, let me get the hell up out of here. They'll be undefeated. I don't know what to tell you. That was nah. Now, if you sit up here and say if Peyton Manning was the quarterback behind this offensive line, then they won't be under. I probably say okay. If you say Tom Brady, okay, good as great as those guys are, I can understand that. Hell, even Breeze. But you know what I'm saying? But a quarterback that has the ability to kind of move and scramble a little bit, yeah. You know what I'm saying? He'll keep those plays alive. You know why? Because he'll be able to move around in the pocket, extend time. Those wide receivers will be able to break off their routes. And you're telling me that Rashid Shaheed breaking off his route, he was supposed to have an out route. Oh, man, I ain't open. Let me slide, you know what I'm saying, back to the right side of the field, you know what I'm saying, and be able to throw, you know what I'm saying, catch a football. He'll probably hit his head on the goalpost. Because now you have a broken down play. You got a quarterback that's extending the play with his legs, and you have a really fast wide receiver breaking off his route that's going clean across the field that basically just beat out the safety or the cornerback that's chasing him. Nah. Like I said, like a Joe Flacco, yeah, okay, you got me. A quarterback that can move a little bit. TJ, they got rid of A.T. Perry. Yeah, we've already talked about that, man. We talked about that. Yeah. I agree, TJ, if we would have Belichick easily 4-0 right now. I don't know. I don't know. Man. It's just frustrating, man. But Breeze, Brady, and Manning have quick releases. Yeah. Yeah, good point. Good point. And then, Peyton Manning probably Omaha that thing to death. Omaha. Let's see. Olave is so damn good. Love what I seen last week. I did too. I did too, man. Look, I don't want anybody to get away from the show thinking that this is an ish fest on the Saints. Look, they have some. The frustrating thing about it is, and why it sounds like I'm angry, because it just don't make no sense, man. It just don't make no sense with that nation. People that just watching this that just think that I'm hypercritical of the team and hyper negative, it just don't make no sense. That's what it all comes down to. Anybody that's watching this that just think that I'm just hyper negative because you only see my tweets and not really check out the podcast, it just don't make no sense, man. To me, it's like a 6'10" dude that can't play no basketball. Like, seriously, like, it just don't make no sense. Like, why are you tall? I understand that everybody that's tall can't play, but I'm just saying it just don't make no sense. It just makes you like, man, I wish I had your height so I can really show you how to make this money. It's like a swole dude that can't, you know what I'm saying, that can't bench press more, you know what I'm saying, like 200 pounds at least 10 times. Like, why are you that swole? Why is your neck going like that? You know what I'm saying? Why you up here like this? That's swole and can't lift nothing. It just doesn't make any sense to me. This team has way too much talent across the board, folks, and they're not really living up to this potential, and it's frustrating, man. It is frustrating to watch. If the Saints were trash, if they were not good, I would sit up here every single week and talk about the promise of the football team and the bright spots. But when you got talent, when you got some dogs, some dudes that can actually make some plays, and they not making no plays, bruh, or they falling short, like, it is frustrating to watch. And yes, I have hope, and I believe that this football team can get themselves out of this hole. But damn, I just want people to live up to their potential. Nothing bothers me or irks me more than a person that is not living up to their potential. When you're not living up to your potential, ooh, man, it irks me. Like, it's beyond just, man, you ain't got no faith in the team. Bro, that's the thing. That's the reason I'm upset, because I have faith in the team. I got faith in the team. If I have, like, think about this. Have you ever let something that you weren't passionate about really get to you? I'm gonna ask you this again. Have you ever had anything that you are not passionate about, like, really grinds your gears, keep you up at night, make you frustrated about, okay, the circumstance? It may not keep you up at night, but have you, like, in your own head, in your own thoughts, have you forgetting stuff, lost in translation? You passionate about it. You're passionate about it, so it is going to consume you, which it does to me, because I don't understand it. I don't understand it, man. It is mind-boggling that people can't separate and understand why people feel the way that they do about this football team, justifiably so. Saying, man, you don't believe. Of course I believe. Or you say stuff like, man, you weren't saying that the last 2 weeks. Why the hell would I? If you see a team that you love score 40 some odd points in 2 weeks, why would you be critical? Why would you say anything? Everybody would feel in the same way. So when they lose, man, you weren't saying, of course I wouldn't. Who's gonna be like that? That I would be a complete moron after the Saints win, beating the Carolina Panthers the way that they did, sit up there and say, man, you know what? Man, this team ain't about to be nothing. Man, like anybody think the team going somewhere, they out there freaking mind. How crazy would I sound? That makes no sense. People think that I want this team to fail. Like, are you high? Like, are you out of your freaking mind? Like, man, I ain't produced a song yet that would be a banger like the one I would make if this team started reaching their full potential. I was close. Man, I was so close. I was like, man, they beat the Eagles. I'm coming out with this fire. Man. I want this team to win. Just like everybody else. But I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like the problems don't exist, because that's what so-called real fans are supposed to do. No, sir. And you shouldn't either. Man. I want what's best for the football team. I want to see this team reach its full potential, and it frustrates me when they don't. Take a few more, then we're going to get up out of here. Dre Day says, I don't think Carr's the issue. DA is a losing head coach with an attitude like he has 3 Super Bowl rings. Well, he has 1. Well, he made it. Does he have 2? They got 2, right? You can get one with the Denver Broncos too. Was he part of their staff? I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, but hey, not as a head coach at least. Take notes, Rattler. Your time is coming. I can see the future TJ with him, Olave, Shaheed, and Kamara with a few more pieces, and we be good. Too many good, talented players on the roster. Yeah, man. I don't know if Spencer Rattler the future or not, but I just know that, you know, you'll be in a fight with Derek Carr, but I don't think you're gonna win anything of significance with him. I just don't. That's not hating. That's just how I feel. I hope that I'm wrong. And I want to say this I want to make this very, very clear. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that what I'm saying right now about Derek Carr, Dennis Allen is completely off brand. People like, man, they're going to show you. They're going to show you. Please show me. And and when they win, you're going to be eating crow. Bruh, give me a big bowl of crow. Like, I sit at the table and eat that joint. You know what I'm saying? Big bowl of crow. I don't care. I do not care. Like, my opinions about this football team, I don't care. Like, if I end up being wrong, fine. I don't care. TJ, you said this and this didn't happen. People think that stuff really hurts me. It does not. You said this last week and they did this. Great. It's great. Like, I'm not Nostradamus. Like, I don't care. Look, there are so many shows. I've done nearly 1,600 episodes of this show. I'm pretty sure that there are times where I was absolutely right about stuff, and there are shows where I was absolutely way out in left field with it. When people try to bring that to my attention, they make it seem like I don't care. Like, it's not that conditional to me. It's not like, oh man, let me just pack up all my wires and my microphone. I don't need to never do this again. Like, look, I want people that starting podcasts to understand this. I don't care if you just batting 1,000. There's going to come a time where you're going to be wrong about something. So when people like try to, tell me, I guess they try to trick me off the block. They try to trick me off the block. Man, you said this. Like, probably did. Like, so what? That's not going to stop me from doing podcasts. That's not going to stop me from doing shows that I think people enjoy. That's not going to stop me from doing that. It's just not, man. And you're going to be wrong. And this is the case. I hope that I am wrong. Yes, I said that. I hope that I am wrong about this whole situation about Carr and DA. I hope that they just, he coaches his ass off and Derek Carr plays his ass off. And I just hope that they just, make me look like the biggest fool walking in the face of God's green earth. I would be happy because guess what? That means that my team is winning. And that is the objective. I want this team to win. Hopefully we get some players back healthy for Monday. We can definitely beat Kansas City. TJ, you got haters just waiting for you to eat crow. Look, you do this long enough, and like I said, man, and like I said, Linda, I'm blessed. I'm blessed, man, to be in a position that I'm in right now. I'm just blessed. I'm blessed to be in this position. For people to actually care enough about the things that I say to rather appreciate the content that I put out or just despise me to a point where, they just want me to fail for some apparent reason. I never thought that I would be in that position, but I'm blessed, man, regardless. It doesn't bother me, man. It does not bother me at all. So when people say, oh, you said this, probably did. But you were saying this, probably was. like I don't feel like my credibility is based on assumptions or opinions. It's just not. I think people enjoy the content because it's first off, it's football, and then you know everybody has a voice here. Like I'm behind the microphone, but everybody has a voice. I mean, look at the chat right now. We got 400 people watching this show right now, and we have hundreds of people in the chat right now giving their opinions. So the way I look at it, we're all a part of the show. We're all a part of the show. So eventually, like, you're going to be wrong about something. You're all going to be wrong about something eventually. We're all going to be way out in left field. The takes that we have are going to be extremely insane to the normal person if they don't work out. But that's not why I do this show. That's not why I do it. I don't do it to have an amen corner be right all the time. I don't. I know I'm going to end up being wrong. What they're going to say is you're a fake fan and you don't deserve to be in on the fun when they win, and don't come back on that side. Police and fan, look, man, they can say whatever they want. Like, what I'm going to say, man, look, 5 people, 10 people said that, oh, you can't have no fun. Yeah, that's going to stop me from being excited when the Saints win. That's going to stop me. That's going to stop you when the Saints win. Yeah, okay. TJ, you big time homie. I enjoy your live chats. James, I appreciate it. I appreciate that, man. Look, we just work hard over here. We just work hard. We have a good time. We understand we acquire taste at times, especially in times like this. But man, my objective is to make good content and let people that's in the chat and people that's watching this know that they matter. Their opinions matter. Their views matter. Rather, we agree with each other or not. Like, your views matter. They matter. I'm not looking for an amen corner. I'm just not. People go into the chat and disagree with a lot of things that I say. Rather it's after show boys, after show girls, or people that's in the chat. But guess what, man? It's your right to say it. Who that? I'm late, so I'm going to rewind. Yeah, be kind to rewind. And let's see, my dog, man. What's going on, my dog, man? Says I'd rather be wrong and speak out against the foolishness Mickey and Dittus got going on. Look, I think we all want to be wrong, my dog, but look, we got to speak our mind when things ain't going the right way. It's not about just shutting up, and being complicit. I mean, if I wanted to do that, man, I think that I don't know. I don't know where I would be. Maybe I'll be further along, but staying true to yourself, man. I just think that, you're going to end up doing the things and being where you need to be anyway. I don't think it's a coincidence that I stayed true to myself. And that's when I feel like things start to really work out. NFC South Roundtable on Roundtable Network. Look, never step foot in a newsroom that covers sports. None of that stuff. And yet, I'm your Saints representative on Bleacher Report. So, I'm up there, having conversations and talking, and doing specials with Chad Ochocinco. I must be doing something right. I'm just saying, I must be doing something right. Live draft shows, being like, public across the entire country, the entire world. Must be doing something right. But you stay true to yourself, man. So, and that's what it's all about. Like tomorrow, I'm about to go to Coastal Carolina and watch a football game and cover this team. Basically for a publication that I created. So doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. But it's all about staying true to yourself. You can become something that you're not, and it probably work out for you. Depends on like how you position yourself. But just know that there are several lanes where you can just, be your unapologetic, authentic self. See, I think most of us want the Saints to win and chant who that. Well, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. Like, just see the Saints win and chant who that. You doing damn good, TJ. I appreciate that, Luke. I think we doing good, man. This show ain't nothing without y'all. Like, seriously, it's nothing without y'all. Nothing at all, period. That is not lip service. That's a fact. Like, this show is built on the backs of so many different people that supported over the years and people with opinions, people that have certain viewpoints. Rather we agree with it or not, rather we're on the same page or not. That's what this show is structured. And I think that's the reason why we are, as a show, as a podcast, we are as successful as we are. You know, that I don't think that's a coincidence. I truly want to believe in my beloved Saints. I need them to win, but I don't believe that will be the case. People got the Falcons head all bucked up. Yeah, man. That's a whole nother can of worms right there. That's a whole nother can of worms, but we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see if they like that. TJ Chris Broussard got us upset in KC. I agree. I think some people feel that way too. They need this game, man. Who had Perry? Who A.T. Perry made mad? I don't know. I don't know who he made mad. But I can tell you who mad. All the haters out here that don't like real authentic Saints talk right here. You know what I'm saying? I just want to hear a bunch of fluff and all that kind of stuff. And look, the sky is not falling. You know, it's not a disaster. It's a long season. You still got plenty of games to play. But the games that, you know, things go wrong, we're going to have these conversations. Because that's what we're all about here on the State of the Saints podcast. And I really do appreciate your time. Much love to you. This has been the State of the Saints podcast. For those that don't know, my name is Timothy J. Jones. You can follow me on X at TJAY Jones8. You can check out some of the previous episodes of the State of the Saints podcast. And also check out the NFC South Roundtable every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Check out the Roundtable, NFC South Roundtable YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that channel. Also subscribe to the Gumbo Pod Sports podcast. Got an article that's supposed to be coming out really, really soon about Coastal Carolina taking on Old Dominion tomorrow. Looking forward to going out there covering that game. And also we'll be back on Monday night talking Saints versus Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, we do the pregame show here on the State of the Saints podcast. We do a halftime. And we have two post-game shows. We got the post-game show on Bleacher Report. That's the first one. And then we go back to this channel here on YouTube and finish it up. So, you know, we pretty much are wall-to-wall every single game day here on the State of the Saints podcast, as well as Saints Talk with Timothy J. Jones on Bleacher Report. So make sure that you all are following the Saints page, and following me on Bleacher Report. Download the Bleacher Report app. You just select on the New Orleans Saints. You'll see all of my content, all of the different shows that I've done. It's under that umbrella right there, and you can hit that button and you'll be able to follow me there. Shouts out to everybody that checks out Saints Talk with Timothy J. Jones every game day for post-game analysis. I really do appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Have a good morning, noon, night, whenever you're checking out this podcast. And like always, all I got to say is, who that?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.